Imagine waking up feeling like you've already run a marathon, even before your day begins. It's not laziness, it's not age, it's something quietly draining your energy every single day. And chances are, you've never even heard your doctor talk about it. Today, we uncover the silent deficiency that could be stealing your strength, and the simple ways to reverse it fast. Part 1. The subtle fatigue that becomes your new normal. It begins quietly. You wake up in the morning, not groggy exactly, but not fully refreshed either. The clock shows you've had 7 or 8 hours of sleep, yet it feels as though your body has been carrying something heavy all night. You move through the day, telling yourself it's just part of getting older. After all, past 60, no one expects to feel like they did in their 30s. But slowly, this becomes the new normal, a constant undercurrent of tiredness that you can't quite explain. At first, you brush it aside. You take a mid-morning walk, maybe brew a strong cup of tea or coffee, and push through. But over time, you notice the fatigue doesn't lift the way it used to. Tasks that were once easy, carrying groceries, tending to the garden, playing with grandchildren, feel heavier, slower, and somehow more draining. Your mood shifts. You're less patient, less motivated, and find yourself withdrawing from things you used to enjoy. It's not laziness, and it's not a lack of willpower. It's something deeper and more insidious. The tricky part is, this creeping exhaustion often doesn't come with dramatic symptoms. There's no sudden collapse or alarming pain that sends you to the doctor. Instead, it's subtle. A little more yawning in the afternoon. A slightly heavier step when you climb the stairs. An unshakable need for that second cup of coffee by 10 a.m. You begin to tell yourself that this is just aging, without realizing you're missing the real cause. Many people over 60 face this exact issue without knowing it, a silent deficiency that robs your body of the energy it needs to function optimally. It hides in plain sight because it can be mistaken for normal age-related fatigue. But in reality, it is the result of a specific nutrient slipping too low in your system, often over many years, until it quietly alters how your cells produce and use energy. The most unsettling thing? You can eat well, exercise regularly, and still suffer from it. Because this deficiency isn't just about diet, it's about how your body absorbs, stores, and uses a key compound that every cell in your body relies on. And once levels start falling, the changes in your energy aren't just temporary. They can become a cycle that accelerates muscle loss, brain fog, and even heart strain. Part 2. Why this deficiency targets people over 60. The body is a remarkable machine, but it's not immune to the slow changes of time. After the age of 60, certain processes naturally become less efficient, one of the most important being nutrient absorption. Your digestive system doesn't work quite the same as it once did. Stomach acid production may drop, enzymes may be less abundant, and the lining of your intestines may not pull nutrients into your bloodstream as effectively. Now, imagine a nutrient that's already tricky to obtain in high amounts from food. If your body is absorbing less of it, even a small daily shortfall can accumulate over months and years until your internal reserves are too low to keep up with demand. That's exactly what happens with this particular deficiency. To make matters worse, modern diets, even those considered healthy, often don't provide enough of this nutrient in the first place. Food processing, soil depletion, and selective eating habits all play a role. And if you have certain medical conditions, such as type 2 diabetes, digestive disorders, or heart disease, your body may require even more of it just to maintain baseline energy production. Another reason people over 60 are especially vulnerable is medication use. Many common prescriptions, for acid reflux, high blood pressure, cholesterol, or mood, can interfere with the absorption or storage of this nutrient. The result is a slow, steady decline that might go unnoticed until you find yourself wondering why you no longer have the energy to do the things you love. Finally, there's the cellular factor. Your body's cells contain structures called mitochondria, tiny power plants that generate the energy you need for movement, thought, and repair. This nutrient is essential for those mitochondria to function efficiently. Without enough of it, your cellular engines sputter, and no amount of sleep or coffee can truly restore your energy. Part 3. the first clues your body gives you. The first signs of this deficiency are rarely dramatic. Instead, they tend to be brushed off as normal aging symptoms. You might notice you can't walk as far without stopping to catch your breath. Climbing a flight of stairs leaves your legs feeling heavier than they used to. You may develop a mild but persistent brain fog, that vague sense of mental dullness that makes it harder to focus or recall names. Some people also begin to notice changes in muscle strength. It might feel as though lifting a moderately heavy pan or bending to pick up a laundry basket takes more effort. You might also feel less steady on your feet. This isn't just because of weaker muscles, it's because your cells aren't producing the quick bursts of energy they once did, making balance and coordination more difficult. Sleep patterns can also change. Many people with this deficiency report waking up multiple times during the night, or finding it harder to fall into deep, restorative sleep. And even when they sleep through the night, they still wake up feeling as though they didn't. Another subtle but telling clue is changes in mood. Low levels of this nutrient can influence the balance of neurotransmitters, the chemicals your brain uses to regulate emotions. This can lead to mild irritability, increased anxiety, or even low-grade depression that doesn't seem to have an obvious cause. The most frustrating part for many people is that routine blood tests often miss this deficiency. Standard panels don't always measure it directly, and unless a doctor specifically suspects it, they may never check. That's why so many older adults live with this silent drain on their energy for years without realizing what's really happening. The good news is, once identified, this deficiency is often reversible. The body can replenish its stores and restore energy production, sometimes within weeks, if given the right form and dose of the nutrient. But to fix it, you first have to know it's there. And that begins with recognizing that the fatigue you've been feeling isn't just aging. It's your body quietly telling you it's running low on one of the most vital resources it needs to keep you strong, alert, and full of life. Part 4: The hidden role of vitamin B12 in energy production. When we think about energy, most of us imagine calories from food, coffee, or a good night's sleep. But your body's true, lasting energy comes from a complex biochemical process inside your cells, and one nutrient, vitamin B12, is central to making it happen. After you eat, your body breaks down carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into smaller molecules. These molecules enter your cells, where tiny structures called mitochondria act as energy factories, producing adenosine triphosphate, ATP, your body's primary energy currency. Vitamin B12 plays an irreplaceable role here by helping form coenzymes necessary for DNA synthesis and red blood cell production. Without enough B12, your body struggles to make healthy red blood cells, which means less oxygen is delivered to your tissues. Oxygen is essential for the mitochondria to function efficiently. Without it, your cells can't generate the ATP you need for daily activities. This is why B12 deficiency can make you feel tired even after a full night's sleep. It's not that you're lazy or out of shape, it's that your cells are literally starved of fuel. This problem becomes more pronounced after 60, because as we age, our stomach produces less hydrochloric acid, a key element for releasing B12 from food. Even if you eat plenty of B12-rich foods like meat, fish, and dairy, your body might not be absorbing enough. The result? Chronic fatigue, poor concentration, and sometimes even tingling or numbness in the hands and feet due to nerve damage. Many older adults mistake these signs for normal aging, but in reality, they're preventable with proper diagnosis and treatment. The process is subtle, almost invisible. Imagine an old-fashioned oil lamp. As long as the oil supply is steady, the flame burns bright. But when the oil begins to run low, even just a little, the flame flickers and dims. That's what happens when your B12 levels dip. Your body might still function, but not with the brightness, sharpness, and vitality you're used to. Over months or years, this low-level deficiency can drain not only your physical strength but also your emotional resilience. Part 5: How B12 deficiency creeps in without warning. B12 deficiency is often called the silent thief because it works slowly and without obvious pain. Unlike a broken bone or a fever, the symptoms develop so gradually that people rarely connect them to a vitamin issue. Instead, They might blame their exhaustion on getting older, their forgetfulness on senior moments, or their mood swings on stress. The body has a remarkable ability to store B12, enough to last for years in some cases. That's why the deficiency can take so long to show itself. However, once your stores begin to drop, the decline can accelerate quickly. Older adults are particularly at risk not just because of reduced stomach acid, but also because of conditions like atrophic gastritis, which thins the stomach lining, and the use of common medications such as proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, for acid reflux or metformin for diabetes, both of which interfere with B12 absorption. It's not just people with poor diets who are affected. Even those who eat balanced meals can develop a deficiency if their bodies can't extract and absorb the vitamin. Vegetarians and vegans face an even higher risk because plant foods don't naturally contain B12, and fortified foods might not always provide enough to maintain optimal levels. The deficiency's neurological effects are particularly concerning. B12 is essential for maintaining the myelin sheath, the protective coating around nerves. Without adequate myelin, nerve signals slow down or misfire, leading to tingling, numbness, or balance problems. Left untreated, nerve damage from B12 deficiency can become permanent. This means that waiting too long to address the issue can lead to lasting problems that no amount of supplements can fully reverse. Part 6: Recognizing and confirming a deficiency. Given how stealthy this condition can be, recognizing the signs early is critical. Fatigue is the most common symptom, but it's rarely the only one. You might also notice pale or jaundiced skin, a swollen tongue, or a rapid heartbeat as your body tries to compensate for the reduced oxygen supply. Some people experience mood changes, irritability, or depression. Others report problems with memory, focus, or even walking steadily. The good news is that B12 deficiency is entirely diagnosable with a simple blood test. If you're over 60 and have unexplained tiredness or any combination of these symptoms, ask your doctor for a B12 test specifically, not just a general blood panel. Many routine blood tests don't automatically check B12 levels unless you request it. Doctors may also check methylmalonic acid, MMA, and homocysteine levels, which can be elevated when B12 is low, even before symptoms become obvious. This additional testing can catch deficiencies early, allowing for prompt treatment before damage sets in. Treatment is straightforward but must be tailored to the cause. If poor absorption is the issue, oral supplements might not be enough, injections or high-dose sublingual forms may be required. In cases caused by dietary insufficiency, increasing B12-rich foods and fortified products can help. The key is not just restoring your energy but preventing the long-term neurological and cardiovascular effects that chronic deficiency can cause. If more people over 60 knew about this simple, correctable issue, countless cases of age-related fatigue, brain fog, and nerve problems could be avoided. This is why awareness matters, because knowing to ask the right question can change your health trajectory for the next decade or more. Part 7: Understanding the hidden role of this nutrient in energy production. At first glance, feeling tired might seem like a simple result of age, lack of sleep, or maybe even stress. But for adults over 60, there's a hidden player that often goes unnoticed: the nutrient deficiency at the root of chronic fatigue. This deficiency isn't just about not eating enough of a certain food, it's about the body's gradual inability to absorb and utilize it efficiently as the years go by. This nutrient is central to how your body produces energy. Every cell in your body contains tiny power plants called mitochondria, and they run on a process that's heavily dependent on this very nutrient. Without enough of it, your cells simply cannot produce energy at an optimal level. The result? A slow, creeping exhaustion that doesn't get better with rest. One of the most frustrating things about this deficiency is that it rarely announces itself loudly. There are no dramatic, obvious warning signs at the start. Instead, you might simply feel not quite yourself. You might get winded more easily while climbing stairs. You might struggle to concentrate during conversations. Or you might find that even after a full night's sleep, you wake up feeling heavy and sluggish, as though you're starting the day already tired. Many older adults mistake this for just getting older. But here's the truth: while aging does bring natural changes to the body, persistent fatigue should never be brushed off as normal. In fact, in many cases, it's the body's way of sounding an alarm that is too often ignored until other, more severe symptoms appear. Part 8. The dangerous ripple effect on your whole body. This nutrient isn't just about helping you feel energized, it plays a role in nearly every system in your body. When your levels are too low, it's not only your energy that suffers. Your muscles can weaken, making you more prone to falls. Your heart, which relies on constant, steady energy to pump blood, may have to work harder. Your brain, a high-energy organ, can struggle to process and recall information, leading to forgetfulness or even confusion. Over time, this ripple effect can contribute to a serious decline in overall quality of life. Tasks that were once simple, like carrying groceries, tending the garden, or going for a morning walk, can become exhausting. You might find yourself avoiding activities you once enjoyed, leading to less movement, less social interaction, and ultimately, less vitality. And here's where things become even more dangerous. Reduced activity can cause muscles to atrophy faster, circulation to slow, and mood to dip. Before long, you're caught in a vicious cycle of low energy leading to less movement, which in turn causes even lower energy. This is one of the reasons why early detection and correction of this deficiency is so important. It's not just about fixing fatigue, it's about protecting your independence and long-term health. Part 9. Why older adults are at higher risk without realizing it. You might be wondering, if this nutrient is so important, why aren't doctors checking for it more often? The reality is that standard checkups sometimes overlook it, especially if your symptoms are vague. A routine blood test might not even include it unless you specifically ask. Older adults are particularly vulnerable because of changes in digestion. Over time, the stomach produces less acid, which is essential for breaking down and absorbing this nutrient from food. Even if you're eating a balanced diet, your body may simply not be able to extract what it needs. Certain medications common in older age, such as those for acid reflux, diabetes, or high blood pressure, can also interfere with absorption. And in some cases, a history of digestive issues like gastritis or past surgeries on the stomach or intestines can dramatically reduce the amount of this nutrient that makes it into your bloodstream. The combination of lower intake, reduced absorption, and increased need means that deficiency is far more common than most people realize, especially past the age of 60. Part 10. The overlooked role of sleep in combating this deficiency. When discussing fatigue after 60, it is impossible to ignore the relationship between sleep and nutrient absorption. Many older adults assume that as long as they get enough hours in bed, their energy levels should remain steady. However, when you have a silent deficiency, such as vitamin B12, even 8 hours of sleep may not leave you feeling refreshed. This is because the nutrient plays a vital role in the production of serotonin and melatonin, both of which help regulate your sleep-wake cycle. If these chemicals are out of balance, you may experience restless nights, frequent awakenings, or early morning fatigue. A particularly troubling cycle begins here. Poor sleep worsens your body's ability to absorb and utilize nutrients, and a lack of key nutrients further disrupts sleep quality. Studies in older adults show that supplementing B12, when deficient, can improve the depth of sleep and reduce daytime drowsiness. Furthermore, magnesium, another often overlooked partner nutrient, supports muscle relaxation and nerve function, helping you stay asleep longer. Addressing the deficiency is not just about eating right. It is also about restoring a sleep rhythm that lets your body recover and your energy stores replenish. Simple steps like avoiding caffeine after 2 p.m., getting morning sunlight to reset your internal clock, and incorporating a calming bedtime routine can help. But if your sleep remains poor despite these habits, it may be worth testing your nutrient levels. Fatigue after 60 is rarely caused by just one factor, and identifying whether a deficiency is at play could save you from years of restless nights and dragging mornings. Part 11. The connection between the deficiency and mood changes. Fatigue is not the only symptom that steals quality of life in older age. Mood changes, such as irritability, sadness, or even mild depression, can creep in subtly when the body is running low on essential nutrients. Vitamin B12, for instance, is a cofactor in the production of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that regulate mood, motivation, and emotional resilience. When levels drop, you may find yourself less patient, less interested in activities you once enjoyed, or more prone to feelings of apathy. What makes this connection so important is that mood and energy are deeply linked. If your mood dips, your motivation to stay active often follows, which can further reduce circulation and nutrient delivery to your cells. On the flip side, chronic fatigue can make you feel less socially engaged, leading to isolation, which in turn can affect your mental health. This loop can be mistaken for just aging or slowing down, but it is often reversible with proper diagnosis and treatment. Research has shown that older adults who corrected their deficiency not only reported higher energy levels but also significant improvements in mood stability. They felt more alert, more engaged, and even reported enjoying social activities again. This is why it's crucial to look beyond the physical symptoms and consider the emotional ones. Fatigue and mood disturbances are often two sides of the same deficiency coin, and correcting it can restore both vitality and joy in daily life. Part 12: The Lifelong Approach to Preventing Energy-Stealing Deficiencies. Once you've identified and addressed a silent deficiency, the next step is ensuring it does not return. Prevention is about creating a sustainable lifestyle that supports nutrient absorption, balanced energy production, and overall well-being, especially after 60, when the body becomes less efficient at extracting nutrients from food. First, prioritize variety in your diet. Relying on the same limited set of meals each week can leave nutrient gaps over time. Incorporating a mix of lean proteins, leafy greens, colorful vegetables, and fermented foods can keep your vitamin and mineral levels steady. Second, monitor your digestive health. Conditions like chronic gastritis, low stomach acid, and certain medications, particularly acid-reducing drugs, can impair the absorption of key nutrients. Regular checkups and open conversations with your healthcare provider can help identify these issues before they cause long-term depletion. Third, consider targeted supplementation, but only when guided by blood tests. Guessing and self-medicating can lead to imbalances, especially with fat-soluble vitamins that can accumulate in the body. Instead, have your nutrient levels checked annually or biannually and adjust accordingly. Pairing this with an active lifestyle, daily walking, light strength training, and flexibility exercises, improves circulation and ensures nutrients reach every part of your body. Finally, stay alert to the early warning signs. Persistent tiredness, unexplained weakness, balance issues, and mood changes should never be dismissed as just getting older. The silent deficiencies that steal energy after 60 are often entirely preventable, but only if they are caught early and addressed with both diet and lifestyle in mind. Your energy is not just a product of age, it's a reflection of how well your body is nourished. Part 16: The Silent Deficiency and Its Hidden Cost on Everyday Life. Imagine this: you wake up in the morning, the sun is spilling softly into your room, but instead of feeling rested, you feel as if you've already spent the day's energy. You shuffle to the kitchen, your mind foggy, your limbs heavy. You chalk it up to just getting older, but beneath the surface, something quieter and more insidious is at work, a nutrient deficiency that your body has been battling for years without you realizing. Many adults over 60 unknowingly live with this silent deficiency because its early symptoms are so subtle that they blend into the background of normal life. At first, you might notice that it takes longer to climb stairs or that you tire more quickly after simple household chores. Your sleep feels less restorative, your mood less stable, and your ability to focus starts slipping. None of these seem dramatic enough to sound the alarm. But together, they point toward a steady erosion of vitality caused by a chronic shortage of one essential nutrient, vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 plays a central role in producing red blood cells, supporting nerve function, and aiding in DNA synthesis. When levels drop, the oxygen-carrying capacity of your blood decreases, starving your tissues and brain of the fuel they need. The deficiency doesn't announce itself with a sudden collapse. Instead, it slowly strips away energy reserves until fatigue becomes your default state. What makes B12 deficiency so tricky is that it's not always linked to diet alone. While foods like meat, fish, and dairy contain B12, your body's ability to absorb it declines with age. The stomach lining produces less intrinsic factor, a protein necessary for B12 absorption, meaning even if you eat enough B12-rich foods, much of it may simply pass through unused. Certain medications, such as acid reducers and diabetes drugs, can worsen this absorption problem, quietly deepening the deficiency over time. Part 17, the body's warning signals and why they're often missed. The early signs of B12 deficiency are often brushed aside as normal aging, but the body does send signals, you just have to know how to read them. Fatigue is the most obvious, but it's not the only symptom. You may notice tingling or numbness in your hands and feet, a sign that your nerves are struggling to function without adequate B12. Memory lapses, difficulty recalling words, or moments when you feel mentally blank can also be red flags. Balance issues are another subtle yet significant warning. If you've started feeling less steady on your feet, it might not be just muscle weakness. B12 deficiency can damage the protective myelin sheath around your nerves, interfering with the brain's ability to coordinate movement. In some cases, people report feelings of depression, anxiety, or irritability, as neurotransmitter production falters in the absence of sufficient B12. The tricky part is that these symptoms overlap with other age-related conditions, so doctors sometimes attribute them to unrelated causes. This is why regular blood tests are critical, not just to check overall health but specifically to measure B12 levels. The problem is compounded by the fact that normal B12 ranges in lab tests can vary widely, and even levels considered borderline can trigger symptoms in sensitive individuals. That's why some experts recommend aiming for B12 levels on the higher end of the normal range, especially for older adults. Ignoring these warning signs can have serious consequences. Prolonged B12 deficiency doesn't just sap energy, it can cause irreversible nerve damage, cognitive decline, and an increased risk of falls due to impaired balance. What starts as a quiet drain on your energy can eventually undermine independence and quality of life. Part 18, Restoring Energy and Protecting Your Health After 60. The good news is that B12 deficiency is both preventable and treatable, and once addressed, the improvements can be remarkable. People who have lived for years with low energy, foggy thinking, and balance issues often notice a dramatic turnaround within weeks of correcting the deficiency. The first step is testing. A simple blood test can reveal your B12 status, and if levels are low or borderline, you and your healthcare provider can discuss the best replenishment strategy. For some, dietary changes may be enough. Increasing intake of B12-rich foods like salmon, sardines, beef liver, eggs, and fortified cereals can help, especially if absorption issues are mild. However, for many adults over 60, supplementation is necessary. This can take the form of oral tablets, sublingual drops that absorb under the tongue, or in more severe cases, B12 injections that bypass the digestive system entirely. It's also essential to address underlying causes. If you take medications that reduce stomach acid or affect nutrient absorption, ask your doctor if there are alternatives or if your dosage can be adjusted. Managing digestive health, especially conditions like gastritis or inflammatory bowel disease, can improve your body's ability to utilize B12 from food. Beyond supplementation, lifestyle plays a role in restoring and maintaining energy. Regular movement, even gentle activities like walking or stretching, improves circulation, helping deliver nutrients and oxygen throughout the body. Adequate hydration and a balanced diet rich in other energy-supporting nutrients, such as iron, folate, and magnesium, work alongside B12 to keep cells functioning optimally. Perhaps most importantly, make B12 awareness part of your ongoing health routine. Schedule regular checkups, track your symptoms, and don't accept persistent fatigue as an inevitable part of aging. With the right approach, you can reclaim the sharpness, stamina, and steadiness you thought were lost to time. After all, energy isn't just about getting through the day, it's about having the strength to live it fully.